All right, folks, Jeff here again. It's day 3 of our build. I tell you what, it's getting harder and harder to drag our butts out of bed every day. For a couple of old fat guys, we're discovering muscles that we forgot we had. If you're thinking about doing this, do it yourself. I mean, you'll save a ton of money doing it yourself, but don't think it's easy. It's a lot of hard work. You know, obviously rewarding because you're watching a structure go up, and regardless of your experience, as it comes together, you get to see that, and that's a good sense of accomplishment. But you're gonna feel it along the way, so you know, prepare to have time and slow down if it starts getting a little bit too much as far as levels of fatigue and things like that. Don't keep pushing. Last night we discovered, you know, a couple of minor errors that we made, and it just came down to we were getting too damn tired, but we kept pushing because we wanted to get things done. And you know, it's going to cost us a little bit more work, basically some purlins that we need to flip over. So we did go to town last night and we bought a battery powered 1/2-inch impact wrench, so that instead of literally turning every bolt by hand, we'll be able to just get them started now and crank them down with the impact wrench. That should make things a lot easier, save on both muscles, and speed up the process. So definitely, you know, on recommended tools for one of these projects, an impact wrench is a good idea. Now I have an electric one that has a cord, operates on 110 volt, but I just thought dragging the cord around, especially when you're up in the air, having that cord hanging down, it would make the gun already heavier than it is. But also there's just too many things that could go wrong having that cord hanging all the time and moving the telehandler around and everything. So decided against that, and decided to make the purchase of an impact wrench. I didn't get one of the real heavy duty ones, so it's about 180 bucks at Lowe's. Not too bad, but it'll do the job for us. I already had batteries, so I just bought in line with the tools I already had, so didn't have to buy the batteries and chargers and all that stuff. So today, what we're doing, I guess I'll show you the building and talk about what we're gonna do today. So here's where we're at on the building. Yesterday we were able to put up all of the purlins for this section. Now recognize this is a 20-foot wide section, or long, I guess. It's 50-foot wide, the building, so this is a 50 by 20 section. There are 5 sections like this on this building that we have to do. So the reason we chose to start with this section, I believe I said earlier, but it's because this section has the most cable bracing, so X bracing. So that's what we're doing today. We're going to start to put cables to this so that we can make it more rigid. We got some winds coming in the future, and a friend of mine that's an engineer basically said that if we don't get those cables in, that the wind can blow these things over. He's seen it happen in the past. So that's good advice. So we definitely want to get those cables up. Now we're not expecting high winds. I think the highest we're going to see is maybe 18 miles per hour, but you never know, that could be enough. I mean, we feel a little bit of wind on these, putting these pieces up. They can, you know, be like sails in the wind, catch it, and they tend to want to fly away from you a little bit. So we felt that putting it up, not bad. I mean, we've had just light breezes, 2 to 3 miles per hour tops, so nothing big. But when we get up to, you know, 17, 18, we at least want to be prepared for that. We need to get this section squared, leveled, plumbed, and we're gonna do that with that cable bracing. Now the cable bracing on this section, every section has cable in it, so they're X braces. We've got one X brace on the far wall. Each section of rafter has 2 braces, so there's 4 going across the roof. And then normally on this wall there would be another set of cable bracing. However, because I selected to put a walk door on this wall there's going to be a door in this section, just a walk-through door. And so the engineers moved this set of cables will be in this in section instead, so we won't have cables here. So in order to compensate for that, I've got some big ratchet straps. I believe these are like 3,000-pound ratchet straps for putting on your trailer. Sorry about the shadow. Putting on your trailer. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take these ratchet straps, put them in the holes like that one there. And I guess we can't see it from here. There you go. On the other side you can see them. So we'll put X's with using ratchet straps across here, and we'll simulate having cable bracing for this one. And I'll literally leave that up until the building is almost complete, or maybe until it's complete, and then I'll take it down. So that'll work good as a temporary, but it'll give us that same structure, support, and rigidity to both square and plumb, but also to, like I say, make it rigid so that the wind can't tear it down or have any effect on it. So that's where we're at. That's the plan. We've already got the cables laid out. We had to cut a bunch of wires and everything, how they tied them together, but we've got them unrolled, laid out, and ready to go. So we'll just have to come up with a plan of attack, how we're going to do it, and get going on it. We also bought a couple of treated 2x6s that we're going to throw on our scaffolding just to build a better platform for that. I know they make scaffolding platforms, but the one they had was like 250 bucks versus I think about $22 each for a treated 4x6 by 8 feet. So we went with the cheaper option. We'll strap those down to make them sturdy, and yeah, that's where we're at. As always, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe so you get notified as we can continue to put out videos in this series. Thanks. Back to the plans again. I spent a lot of time in those plans. Here we get cables ready to install our cable bracing. The cable bracing itself really wasn't that big of a challenge. I mean, pretty much you go to one of the holes, screw in one end of the connection of the bracing, and then you move to the opposite side wherever the cable goes to, and you do the same. And then you of course have to tighten it up. So the best thing to do is to tighten when you put in the first end, tighten it about halfway. So when you get to the opposite end, you can pretty much do the rest of your tightening there and not have to move back and forth. The challenge is not installing those cables, it's learning how to use them. The cables themselves can be used to square up and plumb your building, pulling in different sections that are a little bit out, or loosening sides that are too tight, pulled in too far. It's a little bit of a challenge to figure out how to do it, but once you get it, it actually helps. We unfortunately didn't learn till later on, so in the beginning we worked to tweak the building using ratchet straps and things, pulling it in different directions, and then we would tighten the cables to hold it there instead of using the cables from the beginning. But you learn as you go. And here we're putting up one of the eaves. Not too difficult to put up the eaves because there's only 2 bolt holes on each end and not a lot of variation in them. So pretty much you put them on the holes and bolt them on, and that's all there is to it. Those will primarily be used later on when we begin to install the 10 panels. They'll connect to that on both the sides and the roof. But overall, not too difficult to do. Here Hank kind of held it in place while I climbed up and slapped the bolts in and tightened her down. That's all there was to it. Alright folks, so we've got all the cross bracing up. We've got the eaves up. All the purlins and girders are attached on this first 20-foot section. So now what we've got to do is check plumb, and go from there. If it's plumb, then we got pretty lucky. If it's not, then we'll have to put another strap on it, pull it into plumb, and start working on level, plumb, square, everything up. And then we'll have to go tighten everything down. We've also got some cross bracing, straps bracing something, little pieces that go on. The engineering plans are a little bit difficult to figure those out, so gonna have to spend some time trying to figure that out and figure out where they go, so we can put some cross bracing on this as well, and like I say, get it all squared up and everything plumbed up, leveled up, tighten everything down, and then this section will be done. Oh, and then tighten, once we get all of everything level, square, etc., then we tighten the cross bracing. Right now it's I'll say hand tight. It's not we didn't put any real tension on it yet, so we want to get it squared before we put tension on it. So that's where we're at. Here's an example of us using a ratchet strap to pull the building over. As the sun was going down, we were getting the laser ready, getting everything plumb. And there's that laser in action. Hey folks, Jeff here. It's day 4 of our build. So on day 3, we really focused hard on getting all the cable bracing, the flange braces, making sure everything was square, level, plumb, etc. We did have some challenges. It was a windy day, and also when we were trying to use the laser to make sure we were plumbing everything, the sun was too bright and we did not have the ability to see the laser without putting like a white piece of paper up against the deal, and it was just too difficult. You had to be able to see everything, so we had to wait until the sun went down enough to use the laser. So we literally were plumbing everything up and doing our final tightening after dark, but we got her done. We checked it this morning, everything is still level and good, so we're ready to rock and roll and start the next section. So let me just kind of show you here, hopefully we can see it on the camera. So on this section over here, of course, I still have some straps, which that is temporary bracing because there's no cable bracing in this particular bay on that wall, because there'll be a walk-through door on that wall. If we look up ahead, overhead, we can see some X bracing, that's cables. So we basically had 4 sets that went on the rafters, and then we've got 1 set on the end wall there. The next set that basically does the job of where those temporary ones will go on this bay here in the back. We'll do that one later. Today we decided we're going to move this direction and start on this bay here, which has 1 drive-in door, so that's a little bit unique. We'll have to do a door set. And so the girts that go with that door are these shorter ones laying over here on the side that we've pre-staged. We've pre-staged our column. We've already put together our rafters and pre-staged that down here on the end. It is a bit windy today. We're looking at about, I think at the highest point, it's going to get up to about 17 miles per hour. I think right now we're gusting to around 12, so that's going to present a unique challenge as well, especially when we start working on that, trying to get that rafter up. So we'll see how that goes. But we have gone through and identified all of our stuff. That's the first thing we did. So I know where all the parts are for this build today, and we're ready to rock and roll. And so we're gonna start putting it up. Stay with us. All right, so the wind's blowing, so we've tried to pre-stage and do as much groundwork as possible before we start erecting anything, so that we can get stuff tied in quickly and not let the wind tear stuff down and destroy anything. So we've got a couple of girts pre-staged here that'll tie to the column there. We've pre-built our door, just everything is hand tightened. It's not snug yet, because once we get it up we'll want to square it and everything. And Hank is putting on a girt to the existing structure so that we can tie that in immediately when we put this door up. So that's kind of where we're at. Now, what's the challenge of doing this? So just for, I said I would tell the good and the bad as we go through this. The problem is, so when I bought this kit, I went to the lowest bidder. The specs were basically the same for all the builders, and so I just came to who gave me the best deal. Now, I could have went with a name brand company like Mueller, but the price that I was quoted was about $20,000 more. Now, Mueller, if you buy their product, they actually have an instruction book that comes with it. This one did not come with instruction book, it came with engineering plans. So in order to put this door together, I literally had to go to 3 different pages in the plans book to figure out each one of these little brackets that are along the side and on the ground, as well as what bolts do you use, 2 different types of bolts to put that together. Just a lot of detail, and it's not easy to find. You literally have to search through documents, find a number somewhere, which then goes to a table, and the table gives a part number, then you got to go find the part number. So all of that takes time. It's not difficult, but it's very time consuming. So, you know, we're just taking our time, taking it easy, trying to work ahead, pre-plan, pre-stage, get everything the best we can before we actually start erecting, so that once we start erecting this thing, everything is ready to just put it together. So that's where we're at. Next thing we're going to do is stand this door up, or maybe stand the column up. We'll talk it through. Here we are pushing into day 4, the end of day 4. It's late in the day, we're tired, but we really wanted to get this building tied together well, this next section. So of course we had to get this rafter up. The rafters, you know, when the wind's blowing, they're more of a challenge. Tying a line to one end definitely helps. Get them up, get them in place, and get them bolted on. That's pretty much all you can do. But then you're going to have a lot of sway. Those things will bow out pretty good, and you got to get some purlins on them to tie it all together. So here you can see how much it's bowed out. The side columns are straight, but that rafter is really bowed. And we had to get those purlins up there to tie it together and get everything plumbed up. So that's what we did. We pushed all the way to the end of the day and got 4 purlins up to tie it together good. And then we watched another beautiful sunset. As always, folks, thanks for joining us on another one of our videos. We really do appreciate you. Stay with us as we continue to put out more videos in this series. Until then, God bless. We'll see you on the next one.